Right, girls, you want to go and put your shoes on?
My name's Irene. We live in Bath.
Vamos, niñas.
I'm originally from Spain, and we have 3 daughters, all of them using our cargo bike.
You saw one of the builders. Big hole there now. Windows are coming tomorrow.
I'm Nigel and I'm the dad. Yeah, we moved here 2.5 years ago. We'd been in London for a while, but I'm originally from Yorkshire. Missed the hills, so I wanted to get some hills in my life.
You've got plenty of those.
All right, girls, off we go. Meow.
Do you remember someone the other day was like, oh, I wish we lived farther from school.
So that I could justify it.
So that I could justify getting one.
Yeah.
Downhill all the way. We've actually changed the route recently because I think this way's a bit quieter and more beautiful. It's the uphill, there's the struggle on the way back on the walking, so yeah, this just eats it up.
We'd had our eye on a cargo bike for a while. We had a friend who got one. He's like, you should try it. So we went for a picnic in the park and he brought his bike, so we gave it a go. I remember you having a go. Like, ooh, bump. Oh, look, that suspension just eats it up.
We both used to cycle to work in London before the kids. When our first was born, Nigel had a seat on the back of his bike. I never really dreaded to carry the kids on the back of the bike. It was always too intimidating, too much responsibility. And then we moved to Bath and we saw these cargo bikes and we're like, hold on a second, maybe cycling is an option, even though we have 3 kids, right?
We knew that with our second starting to go to school, that the morning logistics would get slightly more complicated, and bagging those extra 10 to 15 minutes that we'd save by riding the bike to school rather than walking just felt like now's the time, let's get one.
What a morning. It's beautiful. Bath on a day like today, you can't beat it.
The first big decision we had was longtail versus bucket, and then box two wheels at the front or a single wheel. But I guess we spoke to quite a lot of people, and I think Bath is there's quite a lot of narrow streets. I think the box bikes there, we didn't try them, but I think by repute they're a bit harder to get used to in terms of riding.
I wanted a box, and everyone that we spoke to was like, you need to really learn to ride that kind of bike. Your turning is different versus on a long tail, it's the same. You might need to consider that you've got a slightly longer thing behind you, but your riding style and your riding cues that you don't even think about are the same.
So then we thought, okay, well, let's go for a long tail. The bikes we'd ridden in London were super low maintenance, and we're like, let's try and find something that replicates that. So hub gear, really like the idea of the belt drive, just to not have to have any chain maintenance or anything like that. That was kind of our criteria. Let's try and find something that's affordable. It's got a hub gear and a belt drive. And then it turns out there aren't many. If you go for those options, a lot of them are quite expensive. But then, wow, the Estarli came along and it was just like, God, this is amazing. For that price point that you can get the belt drive and the hub gear, was just exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah.
That is the man responsible for me owning a Estarli. Jez, give it a wave. He recommended it to me because a friend of his reviewed it.
We are far from school for Bath standards. We're probably a 20-minute walk, but 20-25-minute walk for someone every morning there and back. So we do get quite a lot of, how long does it take? Is it worth it? What about the rain? It's well, it doesn't really rain that much. If I'm doing the school run walking, I will have to leave at 2:45. If I'm on the car, I'll have to leave at 2:50 because I need to be there earlier so I can park. If I'm on the bike, I can leave at 3:05. It's just quicker, it saves me time, right? And then you can go to the playground versus if I'm on the car, Mommy, can we go to the playgrounds? I know we can't because the parking permit runs out and I can't. So, everyone is happier.
We live in a sea of cargo bikes, I think. Yeah, particularly longtails, because, Bath's really hilly, right? And I think there's a lot of people who live maybe 20-minute, 30-minute walk from schools. So it's just the perfect way to get there. The car's a drag. Cargo bike gets you up and down the hills smoothly. So, it's the perfect way to travel. Our old house, we had a lot of yellow and grey. So when we saw the grey and saw one of the other owners had pimped up with some nice tape, we thought, particularly with the bike lock being yellow, we thought, well, let's go for yellow and grey. And then added the gloves just this week. Stole them from the pram.
with little Christina. Christina goes from the bike. A bit less than the others, but enough. She's quite excited about it, actually. But you like going with Mummy on your own as well, don't you? Yeah? Mwah. Come on then. Look, Daddy's putting your seat in. And the beauty of it is that you get space for everything.
Christina, who's a better driver, Mummy or Daddy? Mummy, Daddy. Who's got Mummy or Daddy? Daddy, that's right.
What's the better driver, Christina? Daddy or Mummy?
Oh. The kids prefer, when I go and pick them up from school, Mummy, have you got the bike or have you got the car? And when I say the bike, there's always cheers. And when I say the car, there's always, oh.
There we go. How are you, Christina?
Good.
I think it's great that you don't need a car for everything and that the car has its place, but we use it as little as possible. And, you know, being outside is great and you get to see the sights and the city and spend some time outside.
I tend to do school pickup. And then Christina and I usually use it to potter around. So if we need to go to run any errands or to any of her classes or go swimming. So yeah, it gets used a lot. I mean, when we bought it, we thought it was just gonna be for school runs. And then it's turned out that we're sort of fighting over it. I mean, even I sometimes use it in the evening. If I'm going somewhere in town, like I go to an exercise class once a week, and I will take it with no children.
I take the bike as an opportunity to fit in a little bit of exercise. So even though the electrics is there and the gears are there, I will always go low on the electrics and low on the gears. So very, very rarely, I mean, I don't think ever, I've maxed the electricity and I am not the strongest, right? I kind of like to feel that I'm riding a bike, feel that I'm doing some exercise, feel a little bit of burn, because I'm like, well, if I'm on the bike, I'm having fun, but I might as well work on my leg muscles a little bit as well.
I sort of feel like, you know, if I'm taking the girls back from school, I might as well break a little bit of a sweat. I don't have to. And that's the beauty of it, that you've got the option not to, but, you know, turn it down a gear and you can.
Yeah, whereas
Versus Nigel's the opposite.
Go up the hill and whack up the boost and like power home and get on with other stuff.
I'd say I'm a semi-confident cyclist on my own, but my sense of balance is not amazing. So I was very nervous about having uncontrolled children at the back. And actually, I was also quite nervous about the whole changing gears, like my bike in London, because it's flat, had only got 3 gears, and I've never really had much experience with like mountain bikes or road bikes. So this whole like changing gears in gears that sort of come out of the cogs and stuff, like, you know, when you change gears, you need to remember before you stop, made me a bit nervous. And actually that's the beauty of this one, that it's like gears are continuous. So you can just change them. You don't feel like the clonk clonk that goes over when you change gears in a traditional gear bike. And also you forget to change them when you're in a traffic light. You can just change them and it's fine. So you don't need to like pedal into gear. And then because I think the wheels are smaller, you barely feel the girls at the back. So as long as they're not wrestling with each other, is relatively easy to keep them in control. So yeah, it's great.
We charge it a couple of times a week.
A couple of times a week, but we use it every day.
Yeah, we use it every day. Usually there's some pretty chunky hills to get up every day.
Sort of
I tend to charge it when it gets down to about 3, because if it gets down to 3 and I go up the hill, it tends to go red. So yeah, I'll end up, we charge it a couple of times a week. I don't know how many miles that gives us, but I mean, it's long enough. I mean, we went to Bristol and back.
Yeah, we went to Bristol and back the other day, which was like,
it's about 27, 30 miles or something.
Drive, and I went with one girl, came back with 2. Yeah. I was conservative, as I always are, on my use of electricity on the way there, but on the way back, you know, I was in tour all the time, so I wasn't on the sort of lowest setup. It was flattish, and we got home with like 4 or something. So I could have gone I don't know if to Cardiff, but
Yeah,
you know, I could have probably gone back to
you
Bristol.
notice it on the hills. You notice
Yeah.
the hills.
If you're
into the car. But
flattish,
also the other thing is
you're
it just
fine.
it eats the hills. I mean, it is.
Well, particularly if it's you and you put it in boost.
Yeah, we've got another one which is not a bad hill bike, but you really notice the difference on the cargo that it, you know, which I wasn't expecting necessarily because obviously the cargo is a heavier bike, but just that the power in the motor is like amazing.
If you told me when we first moved to Bath and I was like, oh my God, the hills here, that I would be cycling with 2 children at the back, I would have not really believed you.
I've never felt I needed more push, and it fills up quite quickly. Because there's been mornings that you were like, oh, I've just plugged it, and it's been plugged in for 2 or 3 hours. I've had to use it again, and maybe it wasn't to the full battery, but it was full enough that I've been able to go and do my errand. So it's never really got in the way.
Shall we come back out?
Yeah.
Who's the best driver, Christina?
Mommy.
Mummy, thank you. Right answer.